The G-20 foreign ministers meeting in Johannesburg was meant to be a historic moment for South Africa. As the first African nation to hold the G20 presidency, Pretoria had hoped to use the summit as a platform to push for greater representation of developing nations in global decision-making. Yet, instead of fostering unity, the meeting quickly turned into a geopolitical flashpoint when the United States Secretary of State effectively snubbed the event, an absence that spoke louder than any diplomatic speech. In today's video, we will delve deeper into why America's top diplomat did not attend and what this decision means for the relationship between South Africa and America moving forward. To better understand what is going on between America and South Africa now, it is crucial to go back in time for some important context. The two countries have enjoyed a solid bilateral relationship since apartheid ended and democracy started in 1994. However, there have always been tensions. The animosity between Washington and Pretoria dates back to the apartheid era, when the US opposed South Africa's institutionalized racial segregation but maintained strategic ties due to Cold War geopolitics. In the 1980s, tensions escalated as the US Congress imposed sanctions on South Africa through the Comprehensive Anti-Apartheid Act of 1986, overriding President Reagan's veto. After apartheid ended in 1994, relations improved under Nelson Mandela, but friction resurfaced due to South Africa's non-aligned foreign policy, criticism of US military interventions, and support for nations like Cuba, Iran, and Palestine. More recently, Pretoria's neutral stance on Russia's invasion of Ukraine, allegations of arms sales to Moscow, and legal action against Israel at the International Court of Justice have further strained ties. But things have taken a turn for worse since Trump came back to power. Both countries have been at loggerheads due to South Africa's land expropriation laws, which Trump considers discriminatory towards white South Africans. In response, Trump has imposed tariffs on South Africa and even cut critical aid to the country, but Pretoria has remained defiant. This acrimony provided the backdrop for America's absence from the G20 foreign ministers meeting in Johannesburg. Despite the attendance of heavyweights like China, Russia, France, and the UK, Washington's representation was reduced to a mere deputy chief of mission from the US Embassy in South Africa. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, a staunch ally of President Donald Trump, and the top official who should have attended this meeting, made it clear he would not be setting foot in Johannesburg. In a scathing post on X, Rubio explained why.
I will not attend the G20 summit in Johannesburg. South Africa is doing very bad things, expropriating private property, using G20 to promote solidarity, equality, and sustainability. In other words, DEI and climate change. My job is to advance America's national interests, not waste taxpayer money or coddle anti-Americanism.
His words reflected a growing chasm between Pretoria and Washington, exacerbated by recent events. Only weeks ago, President Trump signed an executive order cutting all US aid to South Africa, citing concerns over Pretoria's controversial land reform policy. The law, signed by President Cyril Ramaphosa, allows the government to expropriate land without compensation, a long-awaited attempt to redress the racial disparities in land ownership that persist 3 decades after apartheid. Trump, however, framed it as an attack on South Africa's white minority, a sentiment echoed by billionaire Elon Musk, himself a South African-born figurehead of Trump's inner circle, who has repeatedly claimed that Pretoria is fostering anti-white discrimination. Yet, land reform was only one of the fractures straining US-South Africa relations. Washington's fury over Pretoria's ongoing genocide case against Israel at the International Court of Justice further soured diplomatic ties. Trump administration officials have dismissed South Africa's legal challenge as an endorsement of Hamas, and Rubio's absence from the G20 summit sent an unmistakable message. The US has little interest in engaging with a nation it now views as an adversary. But if Washington's absence was a message, Moscow's presence was a counterpunch. As Rubio sat out the talks, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov arrived in Johannesburg. seizing the moment to strengthen ties with South Africa and other developing nations. The contrast was glaring. While the US retreated, Russia advanced, reinforcing its narrative of a multipolar world where Western influence is diminishing.